Well, those are my stories for story time.
Those are really good ones.
Thanks.
I like it.
We had a request to go over EBI 20, the absolutes. EBI is Eddie Bravo Invitational. So it's a tournament that's coming up this weekend. So we're actually going to clip this little section here and send it out tomorrow morning.
Oh.
So people can hear predictions and just kind of a little bit of a preview if they want to watch it. So I wanted to go over that first because there is some stellar names in this tournament. There's a possible 50 grand prize. Why did they throw possible in there? It's because if you win, I believe it's 20 grand, but if you get a submission like every step of the way, let's say, if you have 3 matches, you get 10 grand for every submission.
So you have the potential to earn that.
The potential.
And if you, they haven't changed the EBI rules that you know of, right? They're kind of standard still.
Still the same. They have EBI overtimes.
3 overtimes.
Yes.
Up to 3 overtimes.
Yeah, 2 minutes max. I got to set my fantasy lineup. I just remembered. Oh, my gosh. So same with you, Liv. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, standard submission only. If there's no submission in regulation, then they go into overtime where you get to pick if you're going to start in an armbar position.
Yeah, they call spider web.
Or in with back control with a seatbelt.
Right.
Seatbelt grip. Typically, people pick back control. That's the most common one. Probably like 80% of the time, people will start off with that until they find that they are behind and they need a quick submission. That's where spiderweb comes in.
Right. And
from a tactical perspective, because you're either going to get out of spiderweb fairly quickly,
that's right,
or you're going to get a quick sub right away.
And those people that don't know, if you don't, they also count, there's no submission, they will count control time. And so a lot of people feel in overtime, a lot of people feel like they can control the back, to your point, what you just said, better. And so they'll pick that. So like, you can have no submission, but if someone had the fastest escape times, they win. Right.
Yeah. Whoever. Yeah, exactly. So that's how they would determine a winner if there was no submission in regulation or overtime. But we have some ADCC medalists in this.
Some trials winners.
Right. We have it's an absolute, so there's no weight class. And we have some no one's really all that small. I think the smallest we have is 88 kilos, all the way up to your super heavies, ultra heavies.
Yeah.
But it's a nice card. We don't have the bracket yet either. So we're just going to kind of go over the people that are in it.
Yeah.
And maybe a final prediction at the end there.
Sure. I think that I was saying the absolutes, that kind of, for me, puts a fly in the ointment a little bit.
Big time.
Just because of, we're not doing like middleweights or whatever. Yeah. So. Yeah,
it definitely changes things.
Interesting.
You might have picked, if it was just a single weight division.
Right.
You might have went with Isaac Michel, like B team member that had a great showing at ADCC. He had a war with Wagner. Really close match. He's got some really big wins, and he's a little bit of an up and coming guy, but
definitely
in his weight division, he's formidable. That's for sure.
Yep.
But with the absolute going in there, he's going to have to go against some pretty big boys.
So he's obviously one of the ones.
Yeah. And, so Isaac Michel, B team, like I said, all that. We also have another B team member, which is Nicky Rod. I feel like he's got to be one of the favorites.
I was going to say, just because of size, athleticism.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just coming off of a silver medal at ADCC. I mean.
And just his style is he's hard to submit.
Yep.
He's going to be probably, now this is where I think he could run into trouble. I think he will be good at, like if he starts on the back, he's the guy that has the famous line, anything below the eyebrows is fair game
for
and
the choke.
Will choke you.
Choke your face. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think his bugaboo could be escape time. Yes, he is athletic. He is absolutely a beast. But Kaynan Duarte, and I get it, Kaynan Duarte is literally maybe the second best grappler in the world, locked him up, and he could not get out. This was also a little bit ago. I'm sure he's developed since then. But that's the one weakness I could see him having, especially because he's going to run into some really seasoned vets in here.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I disagree a little bit with that. I think the athleticism that guy has, explosiveness. I think he can make. He's really good at pulling the trigger on escapes. I don't think it's going to be as much of a problem.
Is your opinion that because all you can think about is him with his shirt off?
No.
Prove it.
You can't prove a negative.
I guess you can't prove that. I guess we'll just all assume. He's bodied up, though.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Better body. Hasim Rhida? Nicky Rudd.
Dude. Hasim Rhida.
Okay. So make sure you weren't racist. So, speaking of Hasim Rhida,
yes,
he is also in this.
I know.
Oddly, he is in one of the images where it has a bunch of the names, but he is not in another image that has a bunch of the headshots. So I don't know if that means he pulled out or something like that. But he did just do pan nogi, nogi pans, last weekend. And he didn't get heel hooks, so some sort of injury I don't think would happen. So if he's in, I think he's got really good potential.
I agree. He's one of my favorites in general as a grappler. I mean,
explosive, sharp, submission skills.
Super sharp.
Just a killer when it comes to actual submissions.
The limb length, if it goes into overtime for trapping people, I mean, it's going to be tough.
The body type that he has is incredible. So he is a big guy.
Yep.
But he's not like João Gabriel Hoka or something like that, where he's just tall and wide and everything. He's actually fairly lean, muscular, but not overly muscular. So I think he can really, he has a chance to do some damage.
I completely agree with that.
At a minimum, he'll make this tournament very fun to watch because he chains submissions really nicely.
Yeah.
And he will probably have at least one highlight reel.
I've said this before, but Carrie and I were watching him back during the quintet type of competitions were that's when I first noticed him. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just really.
He was on the losing side of one of the biggest highlights, but it was still awesome.
Super impressed though with him as a grappler.
Yeah. Maybe the biggest moment at ADCC also when he
armbarred that armbar. That's crazy. Yeah.
And I'm actually looking at the list. I've said that there wasn't anybody too small, but I'm seeing a little name on here. A little Jason Rao.
Oh, interesting.
Jason Rao is a black belt out of the old Renzo Gracie school. I believe he's with Matt Serra now, which they're kind of like related sister schools, if you will. He's always kind of jumped around with them. But he's a leg lock specialist, and he's not big. I think he's maybe 77 kilo, could even be smaller, but he's definitely not a huge guy. That's going to be an interesting one, and I think he has the chance to at least, depending on how his bracket looks, maybe surprise someone.
Well, it just harkens back to the previous ADC with Lachlan Giles, who did the absolutes and was just
66 kilo
heel hooking fools,
and all the big foos that happened to win their division.
I know.
You had Patrick Gaudio. I think he got silver that year.
Yeah.
Kaynan Duarte.
Muhammad Ali.
Yep. And Kaynan won his division that year. And then Ali actually, he didn't, but he's a world champion.
But so this is where absolutes to me is really interesting. When there's a big disparity like that.
Yeah. We'd love to see it.
I do. Because
instantly you root for the small guy.
Always. Because I'm a small guy, relatively.
Yeah. In the arms.
Well, pretty much all over. I'm not really a big person.
That's what she said.
Well, you can talk to my wife
about that. Trust me. She's told me so many times.
Carrie has?
Gosh.
Yeah, you shouldn't have asked her.
It's brutal. You make one comment and forever she's sending you pictures.
So, but I think it's really
blushing. You're getting a little red a little bit.
I'm just thinking of what Carrie has said to you, and I'm laughing.
Yeah.
So,
watch your mouth. My mom watches us.
You know what?
My mom watches it now too.
Well, your mother knows whom she spawned.
That's true.
So she's used to it now, hopefully. But I like when there's a big disparity like that, because it seems like, they can get underneath and,
speed becomes a huge factor.
Big time.
And really technical ability
Yeah.
is when you really get to see one of the reasons we all like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Is leverage and technique can prevail over mass and strength.
Yeah. I mean, was it Fabrizio Andre? Like back at ADCC? Yeah. I mean, just that kind of match is super exciting to me. So that's cool.
Yeah. So we'll see how he does.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go over every single person because I don't think this list has every single person.
No, it says and more at the end.
Yeah, but some of the prominent names. We also have a guy lesser known. He's not a huge name, but very good. He's actually done quite well. I don't believe he's won any major tournaments besides like Masters or something like that. And I don't know exactly what he's won. I just know he's been on the podium, and his name's Dan Martinez. Very thick, muscly young man. Good wrestling. Very kind of stingy style. I think he could be one of those guys that, for let's say a Jason Rao, to maybe expose a little bit, but at the same time, he's going to be a hard out for guys like Nicky Rod. So that's the odd thing. I think a specialist can come in and maybe do well with him, or at least prevail. But
yeah,
you see him there.
Now that I see his face, I know who it is.
Yeah, when you see his face, you're like, okay, I've seen that guy.
I have. Yep.
But I think he could pose a little bit of a threat to maybe a little bit less experienced guys, which is odd to say for like someone like Nicky Rod, but he still has only been in the game for a few years. And Dan Martinez is a seasoned vet, so he kind of throws that journeyman piece in there that I think could be hard.
Man, this is a good card.
Yeah. And then you're gonna have the same thing with Steven Martinez. He's gonna kind of fall into the same same area there. But then we get some of these new names that are really making a footprint right away, and that's Andre Porfirio. This guy is from Brazil.
Yep.
I say that like a true Rio de Janeirian.
You know, Professor Andrea is probably listening to this and just laughing at you.
No, she's saying, you got it. You nailed it.
No, she's not.
Rio comment.
Rio de Janeiro.
She'll comment. She'll give you like private Portuguese instructions just for everyone's public health.
Actually, speaking of lessons in the vernacular.
I like the word. Okay.
Thank you. We had someone comment about fat shaming.
I freaking knew it.
And they said, Bill is right. Fat shaming can work. Even to the point that...
He said it depends on the dose.
Can you... How dare you?
Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Depending on the dose. But my vernacular shaming, my accent shaming, helps someone get better at English.
Is that a mic drop look you're just doing?
Exhibit A. I helped someone. I birthed someone into America.
Did you?
I don't even know what to say about that.
You can't dispute it.
I don't even know what you're saying.
It's
right now.
on the record.
So you're a trans...
What?
No, hold on. Trans-American, because it's coming from South America to North America.
This person's from South Europe.
Okay, then it's
Eastern
then
side.
You're a transatlantic midwife.
Transatlantic midwife. I'll allow it.
Because you've birthed them.
Yes.
And you're taking credit for that.
Yes, I was impregnated by Russia.
No, that's not a midwife.
Hold on.
Okay.
You birthed yourself? You birthed?
No, I birthed this
You
young
midwifed
man
yourself.
into speaking English better by way of
making fun of him.
yes.
Okay.
You with me?
I'm with you now.
Thank you. Exhibit A done. So, where were we?
Wait, so you're shaming him made him work on his English?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Bill.
Thank you.
Hey.
Because he didn't want to be shamed anymore by you.
You're welcome.
By the way,
why would I
Not
be
you.
welcome?
I'm looking at
Oh, okay.
the Rooski.
by the way,
Yeah.
I need to make a comment before it's lost in my
Okay.
couple marbles
Well,
I've
you got
left.
30 seconds.
I know. So there was a video that was posted on our website. Well, not ours, but our gym's website.
Or Jim's website?
Uh-huh.
We're talking about Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's my website.
Oh my God. Okay. You're taking
Okay,
that's
keep
fine.
Going, keep going.
But the young man that was in your first story apparently ate 6 cupcakes in under a minute.
Yeah.
And there was some trash talk going on that's like Bill could do that shit with his eyes closed, like without even a warm up.
Let's not say Bill could do that with his eyes closed. Let's say Bill has.
But this was on video and we have actual documentation.
Right.
So we would need you to at least do 7 with a timer on because I saw the timer in the background.
Yep. We intentionally did that.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm going to be honest, Bill. I don't know if you could do it. Well, I mean, I guess if you had water, but
To
you'd
death
have
He
to-
had water.
Well,
He
you
had
have
water.
to go twice, like 2 cupcakes without water, which is what he did, and then you could.
Listen up. Okay. You ever watch Tiger Woods practice?
Mm.
No. No, you haven't. You ever see Jordan practice? They don't allow it. Okay.
Because your skill level is so high.
Yeah. I'm not going to allow you to film me doing my work.
I see.
Okay.
And then if we have a contest,
You just have to reap the benefits.
I see. Okay.
Enjoy.
I
Drink
still,
it in.
Yeah. I still.
Oh, he was complaining too. He was like, if I had water the whole time, I could have ate 17 of those.
He did say that.
He's pretty upset about it, to be honest.
Well, I want to put your mouth where your money is.
You stop talking about my mouth.
I'm just saying, dude.
I'll call the cops immediately.
I was super impressed by that.
Honestly, it was pretty good. And those cupcakes were delish.
They were.
We
good.
had the last 2.
We did.
Yeah. All I'm saying is I think he's the champion right now.
I mean, I'll allow it,
Okay.
but I'm also the guy that ate 5 full-size donuts right after practice. Full size.
With the peanut butter jelly.
And one has
Oh my God.
one.
It's a peanut butter jelly donut.
It's this. It's the size of
filled.
my face,
Mm-hmm.
and it is glazed, and it's stuffed with probably half a can of peanut butter, and then half a can of jelly.
Oh.
That was the starter. Hey, that was the starter.
Oh.
That one just got my insulin going, just warming it up.
Your pancreas like, let's get it going on.
More.
Okay.
Sorry. And then I had a maple bar.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a jelly stuffed, and then I went with a custard stuff, and then I had this little what? Say something.
You're doing a disservice to humanity not documenting this. It'd be almost like
true.
National Geographic.
That's true. You're right.
Don't you think? Olivia?
Yeah, I don't.
We could have some ridiculous English accent, not a real one, but like an American trying to do one, saying, here is Bill in his natural habitat.
Right.
Right.
David
Attenborough, right? And
I know you're listening. Holla at your boy.
I'm just saying, with that kind of just the skill set you have, you should share it with the world, is all I'm saying.
I believe you're onto something because I did post a little video of me just panning my kill, which are donuts, and someone liked it. That was unexpected.
Okay.
Tex Johnson.
Oh yeah, he did.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. There you go.
Yeah.
So make it happen.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry for the interruption. That was a little. It was
Yeah.
on my mind, so I wanted to get it out before I
I
forgot
got
it.
Got mine on my money on my mind. So, okay. We're going to keep moving on this little list here.
Okay.
Andre Porfirio. This
Yeah,
guy, Brazilian stud. Was he at ADCC? Gosh. I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I think he was going to be and he got hurt, or he was alternate or something. But he just got a big win recently. The guy is an absolute stud. He's going to cause problems. Mark my word.
Okay.
Maybe dark horse. Maybe dark horse.
Interesting.
Throwing it out there.
Okay.
Staying in Brazil, we're going to go to Roosevelt Souza.
Oh, nice.
Now, this guy is a tank. Some people would call it a brick shithouse. Okay. People might sleep on him a little bit because he had not the best showing at ADCC
sure.
because Gordon decided to heel hook him in 4 seconds. But you didn't get to see like the whole meal deal there.
For sure.
And the reason Gordon says in his interviews, his post interviews, he's like, there's a reason why I went after his heel immediately.
Yep.
Is because that guy will be very difficult to deal with if he gets into his positions.
Mm-hmm.
He can be very, I won't say stally in a shitty way, but he can be positionally dominant and very hard to move. He's a very big guy. He comes out of fight sports, and they, have really tactical planning, if that even makes sense how I said that.
Yeah.
But they're very tactical with their game plans. So he could be very difficult to deal with. Kyle Boehm. Boehm. This is the man that recognized Nikita from a mile away. Yelled his name to him. Said, Nikita, thank you for picking me. We got a hug. He had a tank top on. I touched his skin.
And, Nikita basically had to change his probably shorts after that.
Oh, my goodness. It was weird. Okay. So we go, I go up to the guy. And I think I said this story. But I'm like, hey, remember this dude? He's the one that picked you. Because Kyle liked and commented
on our
dark horse picks.
Yes.
And he goes, Nikita. He remembered it. He legit did. Nikita turns super red. And we're like, can we get a photo? And he was like, very thankful. He was like, hey, man, thanks for you guys just, being supportive and stuff like that. It was great. We turn, we get a photo. He's in between us, like with his arms kind of like around each one of us. And he wasn't even hover handing. You know how that can be kind of weird when dudes are like, I don't really want to touch him. He held us in. He nestled us into his bosom. And it was interesting. Olivia takes the photo. I release my underhook and I start backing away, and Nikita doesn't. Nikita keeps holding him by the ribs, and you can see Kyle's like this, and he's like, okay, and he starts kind of tapping him on the chest, and Nikita, I see like his knuckles are turning white, and he's like kind of holding on to him like,
you're such a liar. I don't remember this at all.
That's because you were drunk.
I don't even drink.
He's holding on to him, and you can see Kyle starts to kind of like he's looking at Nikita, and he kind of taps him on the chest, and then he looks at me like he goes like this, like, what's wrong with this guy? It was interesting, and then Nikita obviously had a moment, and it was like, oh, okay, I gotta let go. Very interesting moment to be around. So Kyle Boehm. He is, maybe he'll comment on this and tell me how to say his name.
Okay, I gotta be honest. How is anyone want to be your friend with the stories that you tell?
That's the disclaimer.
Yes.
But it's kind of hard to disclaim it when he's like, yeah, my buddy. I don't know. She just said it, and I just wanted to jump on the bandwagon. I thought it was funny.
You.
Yeah.
How dare you? So, Kyle can obviously, he's going to sneeze. COVID. So
you can't say that.
Baltimore. Kyle can obviously run away with this.
Yeah.
He is an EBI master.
That was what I was going to say. The experience under this rule set alone.
Yeah.
And when they go through their qualifiers, right? Or they have their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to. Some of these guys had to win a tournament just to get in. AB or ABCC.
Yeah. So I agree with you on that, just because of the experience factor, and just this skill set he's really, really comfortable with.
Yeah, and I would say it probably doesn't matter what his bracket looks like. Yeah. He's going to be a threat to anybody. Mm-hmm. Especially because his overtime. Now he's a submission hunter, right? That's his thing. He thrives in sub only. Mm-hmm. But a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll stall in the regulation to get to overtime because maybe they're outgunned in regulation. Maybe they're going against a big name that just they know that they're never going to get this guy's back.
For sure.
They're not going to get into a positive position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you stall as much as you can to get to overtime, and then you hopefully win on kind of a break in the rules. Unfortunately,
sure, or faster escape or whatever.
Every rule set has its downfalls. That's EBI's.
But that would be a mistake against him.
Yeah. Why?
Because he trains those overtime positions all the time.
Right. He's
the strategy, all the different tools he has in his tool.
And once again, physically gifted, I would say. Ex rock climber, very strong. Mm-hmm. Everyone that's ever gone against him has said he's extremely much stronger than you think. Mm-hmm. Good length, body type, all that good stuff. So he's got to be up there as a favorite.
I'm with you on that one for sure.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about my boyfriend, Giancarlo Bodoni?
So he's on a tear.
Yeah.
If you listen to, I thought it was fascinating. If you listen to Danaher's recent interview on the Lex Friedman podcast.
Yeah. Shout out. Definitely a good listen.
That was
long, but
it's fantastic. You can break it up into chunks. It's fantastic. Yeah. He talked about the evolution of him just over a 10-month period,
which
right?
is very interesting.
Super interesting. And it just shows you, I mean, that guy can never be counted out. And they are training for this rule. I mean, Danaher's a mastermind. You know, and you look at the success that his students had in the early EBIs.
And I believe he finished everyone but one in his division. So he's a killer.
He's right up there. I mean, that's why this is such an interesting thing. If it was like his weight class, I think I would automatically say he'd be one of my favorites to win.
Yeah.
The fact that it's absolutes is more interesting because he's not small.
Right. He was an 88 kilo winner of ADCC.
And it'd be interesting to see where he's coming in at during absolutes because he's probably not going to, why would he cut weight or something,
Yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting. But I think he's right up there with anyone as far as this competition.
He's just on fire for sure.
It's fantastic. So probably, he's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's probably my favorite to win the whole thing. If I had to put a couple shekels down, I would probably do it with him. Obviously, he can run into some issues with some of the guys we've already talked about. Maybe Nicky.
I was exactly going to say Nicky Rod, just because I think there's some knowledge about each other's game a little bit.
Sure.
So
that'd be fascinating.
I think so too.
But the last 10 months have been the biggest growth for Bodoni, and they haven't trained together in that 10 months. So that'll be fascinating to see.
That's a really good one.
A little bit lesser known, but European ADCC trials winner. Also had a pretty good showing at ADCC is Luke Griffith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I missed that.
Yep. He is a new wave guy, so he's under Danaher. He's Gordon Ryan's, one of Gordon's main training partners.
Oh, I'm seeing this. Okay, I know who he is.
Also, he is a teammate of Bodoni, which is fairly interesting.
That is interesting.
He's technically a brown belt, which in Nogi, the belts kind of don't mean quite as much.
I mean, what's Nicky Rod?
Purple belt.
That's my point. He's a silver medalist.
Right.
So.
I'll be interested to see if Griffith is still in this tournament because he just competed at Pans and he was in the absolute division. He was armbarred by Jacob Couch, the Hillbilly Hammer. And it's pretty gross because in the video, if you go on Instagram, look up Flow Grappling, and you'll see just a little 30-second clip of Couch armbarring him. You hear his arm.
Wow.
And it's like, it sounds like crumpling up a paper, like a piece of paper. It's pretty gnarly. So I don't know. Maybe those are just some ligaments moving around or something, but it was audible, and it's
usually bad.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty, and you can see him kind of favoring a little bit right away when they break up.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see if he actually maintains and stays in that. I do see him on the poster still, so we'll see. But he can give some guys some troubles for sure, but I just don't see him getting to that upper echelon yet. But huge guy, got great potential. Elder Cruz.
That's what I was about to say next. Yeah.
What do you think about this guy?
I mean, God, this is such a stacked card, man.
I mean, I don't want to call him a dark horse, but
oh man, I mean, any of these people, I mean, you could make an argument for almost most of them.
Yeah.
So that's what's so cool about this.
Yeah, Elder Cruz, heavy wrestling.
Yeah.
Not a collegiate wrestler, which is interesting, but he can wrestle with anybody. I believe he actually beat Nicky Rod at a Who's Number One. So that says a lot about him, and he out wrestled. I mean, it was a very close match. So saying he out wrestled him is,
yeah, I saw that match. But I mean, yeah, his wrestling's
but
great.
He won.
He did win.
Yeah.
And it was, I would argue, that match in particular wasn't the most exciting one.
Sure.
But they definitely
that's coming from a guy that wanted to see Wagner and Josh Hinger again.
You know what?
Keep going.
You're a monster.
Yeah, that's true. You have no filter.
Oh my gosh.
Keep going.
But I mean, I think he's, I mean, he can hold his own on the feet. I mean, so well. I mean, and so, gosh, man.
He got heel hooked pretty quick with a real sneaky heel hook at Pan's no-gi last weekend.
And this is my own ignorance. Maybe you can fill in on this. I don't know how much experience he has in this rule set.
Right. When someone has him in a bad spot.
Let's say it goes to overtime.
Sure.
Which it certainly could, the way he.
Sure.
Yeah. That's where I would wonder. And maybe he does. I just, it might be my own ignorance. I just don't.
That's a great point. I think it'll be very interesting to see how he does once he gets one. I mean, any of these guys in that overtime period to see, one, how does his escapes look? And two, how does his finishing skills look?
Yeah.
That'll be fascinating.
Because it's not like this is different than getting in those positions organically during a roll. You're set and locked in, right? And so it's different. And I don't know, unless you really train for that.
Right.
Like we do, when we do situationals, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So it's interesting. Maybe he is. Maybe he's,
yeah, maybe he could be an absolute
really
savage.
And just training specifically for that. So
right.
But what a great card, man.
Side note, Dan Martinez, he is the former combat jiu-jitsu middleweight champion.
Nice.
So he's actually not as big as I thought. But he does have quite a bit of experience in that. Did we talk about Isaac Michel?
Yep.
Was he the first one that we talked about?
We did.
Those are the main. Oh, excuse me. One last guy, Devontae Johnson. That's a big name.
Yep.
That's a big name. That's a guy that's similar to Elder. Heavy wrestling, really good. Positional dominance, has some good finishing skills.
Right. But
we haven't seen him in this kind of rule format.
Again, that's right.
He might bring, who knows? He might bring something a little special. I think I do default a little bit to the guys that we've seen in this rule set. Your Kyle Boehms, your Giancarlos. I mean, we haven't seen him as much, but I just think he's on a rocket ship right now.
I think even Hasim Rhida as well is going to do well in this rule set.
Who, gun to your head, who's winning? And don't you dare pick 4 people.
No, I'm going to pick one person, Bill.
Yeah. You can't say me.
Nor would I.
Master Hickson Gracie. Bring it, son.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Kyle.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, just for...
Why is that a limb?
No, but I think with anything, it's going out on a limb. Okay. I think with this...
I don't know if you know what that means.
I do know what it is.
They in other words, that term when you were born, right?
Yeah, they had limbs. Yes, they did have limbs. Believe it or not, they weren't just saplings back then. Okay. We actually had grown trees. So the reason why I say that is just because of the rest of the card, man. There's not an obvious person that I could make arguments for a bunch of them, but because of the experience he has with the rule set, his athleticism, and I just think that's why I picked him. I agree. But I don't have like a rock solid. Like I definitely,
I think he could be the guy that I part of me says Nicky Rod, but I feel like Kyle has the tools and the style to kind of like what Gordon did.
Yep.
Right. When Kyle latches onto something, it's really hard to get out of there.
Yep.
But I'm gonna curveball you, and I'm gonna go Bodoni. I'm gonna do it.
I could make an argument for him too.
Yeah. I think, and part of me just wants to pick someone different than you.
I understand.
But this card is, and sorry for the other guys that we did not go over. Obviously, you can tell I'm long-winded. So, but there's a ton of great names on here. This card is on UFC Fight Pass, not Flow Grappling. If you want, you can literally pay I think $20 and get Fight Pass for the month and watch some UFC cards.
And by the way, folks, and not that I'm advertising for it, but there's a great UFC card this weekend, a really good one. And if you needed an excuse to get Fight Pass, then you actually get I believe they give you a discount on actually you can buy it as a package. You could buy the fight the fight itself and then a subscription to Fight Pass for a discount or something.
Yeah, use discount code grappling with.
There is no discount. Don't do that. We're gonna get sued.
There's no discount yet. Dana, I know you're listening. Just respond to my emails.
No, he's not listening.
You don't know that.
We are getting more subscribers though, so I'm digging it. That's cool.
My mom, my uncle. Yeah. So that's EBI 20, the absolutes.
I think that's great.
I think it's going to be a very worthwhile show to watch.
Yeah, and I think